Mm.
Hey y'all, I think we're live. Just checking my mic here to make sure I'm okay. But welcome. I am here with a wonderful guest today. Rochelle from the Reset with Rochelle is here, and we're going to talk about a topic today, and that is navigating life in your 20s because, whoo,
Yes.
it can be up and down again. Woo.
Yes, it can.
Um, So, before we get started, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your channel or the vision that you have for your channel?
Yes. Okay. Hello. My name is Rochelle Eyarhono, and my YouTube channel is called The Reset with Rochelle. And on that channel, my aim is to help people with like self discovery and also just like resetting in their life in whatever situation that isn't serving them, and if they just feel like they can do more in life. And
Mm-hmm.
also, though, I want to like kind of document like my personal journey as well, and trying to reset and pivot myself. I'm trying to think of like how to incorporate myself a little bit in there too, because I'm on that journey as well.
Ooh, me too. Yes, yes. But if y'all haven't, please subscribe to her channel.
Oh
I
my
did an
goodness.
interview with her a few weeks back, I guess. That's on her channel. If you haven't
Yes.
watched that,
When was it? It was it last month? Or maybe a month
time
ago?
just
I
we have
know.
no concept of time anymore. One day is the next day is like, whew, yes,
Literally.
yes. But it's on her channel if y'all want to check it
Yes.
out.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, Alicia. Hey. Thank you for being here, as
Thank
always.
you.
I guess I'll introduce myself because I definitely didn't do that. But I am Marissa Price. I am a social worker, healer, educator, founder of Free Black Woman Virtual Solutions, teaching and educating, helping other Black women become digital entrepreneurs to get free of environments that do not deserve us in our brilliance. Okay, I will kind of pivot a little bit and just jump right in. How
Okay.
have your 20s been for you overall so far?
Mm. So far, my 20s have been eventful, but not eventful at the same time. And I only say that because I literally entered my 20s during the pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
So right
Wow.
at the end of 2019, I turned 20, and then March
Mhm.
2020 happened, and everything just blew up from there.
Wow.
So
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, so from the time I was 20 to now, being 23, almost 24, I've been dealing with the pandemic, as we all have.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I didn't even realize that because I
Mhm.
was in graduate school during the
Okay.
pandemic and that had its own challenges. I cannot imagine coming into your 20s.
I
You're
know.
supposed to be outside, you're supposed to be having fun, like interacting, and there's a global
I
pandemic. That had to be really difficult.
It was definitely an adjustment because I honestly had no idea or plan for what I wanted to do in my 20s, but thankfully I did. In 2019, I did finish school, so I mean I'm glad
Hmm.
I finished before everything just shut down, because I don't know how I would have managed that. So that was behind me, thankfully. But
Yeah.
overall, like, it was definitely something that it was a shift. And the thing is, you know how they say, like, I think it was like by the second year or so, people were saying how like the pandemic was like a global trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I
Yes.
and it's almost like a delayed trauma that you don't realize you were going through until after the
Wow.
fact. And it's like, what, because like everything happened, like we were all just trying to figure out what this thing was, how to deal with it, what to do. And like we like no one knew the severity, and like everything was so new. And I was just like turning I just turned 20, and I had no idea what that even looked like, because I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea that like we were gonna enter a pandemic. So
No.
it definitely
Wow.
was like a kind of delayed thing, because like now after the fact you start to think back and remember things, and you're like, oh wow, that did happen. Like I did have to put
Mm-hmm.
things on hold because we
Yes.
were trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
it was
That is so
definitely
true.
a delayed reaction to what we all went through. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm glad that I survived. I made it out. So
Yes,
very very
yes.
blessed with that.
Oh, that is so real. It
Yeah.
is a delayed trauma because there's
Mhm.
moments now where memories that I had from 2020 when
Right.
everything started, they'll flood back in because I kind of suppressed those to
Yes. Yes.
survive
Yes.
and get through the madness, the chaos that was happening. That is
Right.
very true. I never thought about it like that. It is delayed trauma.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm feeling it. I feel it comes and goes sometimes in like
Yeah.
2023, 2022. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Alicia says yes, definitely delayed trauma. Yes.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it's weird because it's like you you're so grateful that you were one of the fortunate ones to make it out of this very deadly pandemic, this very horrible time, and you feel so grateful that you made it. But at the same time, you're
Mhm.
like, but like my life was on pause
Yes.
for like 3 years, 4 years. So it's one of those things because it's like, where do you find you can be grateful while at the same time acknowledging like something feels off. Like
Mhm.
I love that I made it. I'm so blessed, but at the same time, I don't know. Like there are things that I wish I would have done that I
Yeah.
can't do,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely. And
there
I
are
think
also
that's
yeah,
important to hold space
right
for those, like a duality of
emotions.
emotions. Yeah. It doesn't have to be either or.
Right,
Like if you're upset that you missed stuff, that doesn't mean that you're not grateful that you made it through. Multiple things
exactly.
can exist at the same time. That's so important. Yep.
It's true. It's true.
Whew, whew.
I know.
Okay.
I know,
Like,
right?
oh my gosh, that's bringing back so many memories.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I
Yeah.
honestly think that's how we like all survived it too. Like we literally had to like suppress and block things out. And I think that's what probably kept us going even longer because I mean you just have to get through, you have to survive, and sometimes that means blocking certain memories out.
Hmm.
Oh,
Absolutely.
sorry
Absolutely.
to re-traumatize you.
Oh no, no, you're fine. You're fine. No, I probably need to sit with this, have a little journaling session after this, because, ooh, thank you, thank you for saying that though.
Hmm.
Alicia says, yeah, it's wild how we were just supposed to pick up and carry on like nothing happened. Yep,
Yes.
I have a lot of
Yes.
thoughts about that. Yes, it
Hmm.
does feel like that. Like that was just a bad memory that we were supposed to leave behind, not a whole global pandemic.
Right. That
Traumatic.
like was like the better part of like 4 or 3 years.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's still here.
It's still here.
It's still here. Like, oh my gosh. The
Oh,
trauma.
it's true. It's true.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh. Okay. So, besides the pandemic, have
Hmm.
there been any other specific challenges that you would say the year 20s have presented so far?
Ah, yes, I would say one, probably like a fundamental one that like most 20 somethings experience is like looking for a job.
Yes.
That's a big
Yes.
one
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
your 20s are meant for like self discovery, but at the same time, it's like you're an adult, so it's like there's this expectation that you're supposed to start building like this nest egg, and you're supposed to start your
Yes.
savings, and it's like, well, when you're in the house for like 3 years, you can't
Yes.
really build on that savings. So that was really hard, especially because there are like I'm like medically like high risk, especially with like stuff
Mm-hmm.
with COVID and everything. So I
Yeah.
couldn't really afford to kind of just be a little blasé about it. So I had to really like hanker down and just stay home for as long as possible, just because I couldn't afford to just go out and be like I'm getting out there to just get a job. So it was
Right.
definitely, I guess, my little nest egg kind of took a hit, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't fault the pandemic because I mean it happened. It is these things happen, so I couldn't
Yeah.
really find work. I wasn't even looking, honestly. I was just trying to be like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a highly infectious, contagious virus that affects the respiratory system, and I can't afford
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. So yeah, it
Yes.
was definitely the work job hunting was on hold. Probably
Right.
like for since it started.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, my husband and I talk about that all the time. That
Hmm.
the expectation that you're just supposed to continue doing what you did before while
Right.
we're living in a global pandemic It's like I'm supposed to job search. I'm supposed to act like I'm in this full when I'm trying to survive every day, and my brain is space is taken up by
Right.
trying to survive. But there's so much pressure to still continue doing these things that we did before the
It's
pandemic.
true. It's true.
That
And
is
like the
wild.
fact that especially those first 2 years when it was like super, super bad and all that, like there wasn't any like work from home available either. Like people
Hmm.
were just like either you're fully cut off or you're just going to work. And
Hmm.
I've heard a few cases like from people I knew or anything, or even on the news of people who were just like even cashiers who were just handling money, just dealing with people on a regular who'd get COVID and like end up in
Hmm.
the ICU or something. So you could
Yes.
not take that lightly.
Hmm. Absolutely. And
Hmm.
there was so much pressure to take it lightly, and there still is.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
no, and
it's still
personally, like,
going.
it's exactly, it's still here, it's still going. And when you have had like family members affected by this, family members pass away due to this, it's something that you can't take lightly.
Yes.
Um, and there's
Mm.
still that pressure to make it seem like everything's
You
okay.
can keep going.
Yeah,
And
that is so weird.
that was the craziest thing too that I noticed that like especially when like elderly people were getting affected and dying from it, like there
Yeah.
was such like this callousness, like oh they were 70, they were 65, almost like okay, well I mean they had a good run. Like what? It's like
Yeah.
sir, that was someone's grandmother, that was someone's grandfather who like could have lived another 5, 10 years, but
Hmm.
just because retirement is non-existent now, it's like they had to work.
Oh, yes.
And also that like you had many in-laws and whatnot who were like in their 30s 40s who didn't take it as seriously because they're like oh I'm fine and visiting their parents and bringing the grandchildren. It's like
Hmm.
you can't just drop everything and just see them because you feel like it. it's
Right.
it's so I think that was what shocked me the most about like the disregard for elderly people. I was like oh god,
Yes.
almost
Yes.
like they were like it's almost like people are thinking like the greater good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We gotta keep that economy going. So
Oh
that's
my God, Rochelle. Let me
I
tell you. Oh my gosh, yes. I
yeah,
have had that same, like, a complete disregard for our elders.
yes, it's
Just
true.
like, well, if it happens, it happens. Like,
Right,
no, these
right,
are people
right.
who have lives too, no matter what age they
Literally,
are. And there was
literally.
so much ableism, ageism that we've
Mm.
seen that is just so deeply disheartening during this
It's
pandemic.
true. It's
Wow.
true.
Whew.
People's true colors came out.
Yeah. Yes, they did. They did. Yes. Alicia, yeah, it's like the meme with the dog in the burning house. It is.
I
This is
see.
fine. Everything is fine.
Hmm.
It's not. It's
No,
not. It's burning. Yes.
I feel like we're still in a burning building actually, but it's just a
Yes.
burning planet.
Hmm. Oh my gosh.
I swear.
Oh, climate emergency. We're just jumping right into this. I love it because it's real. All of these things are so real. And I cannot imagine like being in your early 20s and seeing all of these major crises
Oh
happening
my god.
simultaneously while you're still trying to figure out who you are. That's a lot.
It's very true. Like the Maui one got me. Like I was just
Mhm.
like oh my god. Like first of all, this place has never been like hit with a hurricane in probably like 100 years,
Yeah.
and the one time it's hit this, and it's crazy because it's like that weird juxtaposition. Like you have severe rain, severe weather, and then you just have this intense fire that just it was so. Whew, I was like, oh
Yes.
wow, okay, something's wrong here.
Hmm.
Something's very wrong. This is not normal. I mean,
No.
of course, their infrastructure was kind of faulty, which unfortunately allowed the trigger this to happen. But at
Hmm.
the same time, it was very interesting. Hmm,
Yeah,
very interesting.
absolutely. And if you like go back to the history of Hawaii and how
Hmm.
it was colonized and how it was forcibly taken by the US and annexed, and then
Hmm.
you connect that to the mistreatment of the land that we're
Right.
seeing today, it's like y'all
It's
really
insane.
just don't care. It's amazing.
True. Hmm.
Whew. Okay.
I know what it's like to be like hyper aware. That's what happens.
Yes.
You're aware of
It,
everything.
yeah. And going right into that, social media. As a member of Gen Z, has social media impacted your life and your awareness of the world at all? And
Oh, that'd
you,
be an understatement.
yeah.
It was. I mean, I'm grateful that like I didn't have complete unfettered access to the internet when I was like an impressionable child, like a literal minor, like 8, 9, 10, 3. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so blessed for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, mom and dad. Thank you. But I did get my first phone at like 14. But at that age,
Mm.
you don't know what to do with it. You're
Yep.
just discovering and stuff. It wasn't until like my late teens, even like my early 20s, where I started like really being hyper aware of what I was watching, and that definitely. I mean, my phone is on me at all times.
Yep.
So
Can relate. Can
so
relate.
it's definitely it's so pivotal. It's very big.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. And like, I feel an attachment to my phone. I feel like I
Yes.
can't put it down. If I put it down for like 5 minutes, I feel like a longing for my phone. This is not normal.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not okay, and that's why I am really opposed to people giving their like toddlers an iPad or a phone of any sort.
Hmm.
Like, please
Hmm.
just keep your child's innocence. Please don't
Hmm.
introduce any electronics in their vicinity while they're
Hmm.
still developing. Because honestly, someone compared having like unfettered access on your phone to the internet to like Pandora's box, and like
Hmm.
someone said, why would you give your child Pandora's box? That's not
Hmm.
something you'd want to do, because there's a lot of things that your children will see that they should never see. And
Hmm.
I 100% agree. Like there are some things that I've come across where I'm like, why is
Me
this in my
too.
face?
Like, I didn't need to see that. Yes. Even at 29, I'm like, I need an age restriction because I'm still not, not old enough to see this.
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
it's
that is so
true.
real. Yes.
It's true. And the thing is like it's like when you like ring that bell, you can never unring it. It's like now it's so hard to just I I can detach myself for like 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But
Mm-hmm.
like it's just one of those things like the bell's been rung. You can't ask me to be like go to a life without this. I'm like
Right.
I'm sorry, it's too late. It's too late.
That's
So
so
yeah,
true.
so hold off as long as possible. Like I'd even say, don't give your child a phone until they're 20.
Mm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, literally 20. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that
It's
sounds very extreme, but maybe 19. I don't know.
and it's amazing, like, people did not have phones, and yet we're taught that if you don't have a phone, then you can't access anything.
Right, and
Like,
like, oh my
yeah.
God forbid your like 3-year-old doesn't have a tablet in front of them for like 5 minutes. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we survived. We didn't have any
Yeah.
of that. We were okay.
True.
So I
True.
just let's not make that normal.
Hmm. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yes, Alicia says we're addicted. We are.
Yes,
We very
definitely.
much are. That is so true.
Yes.
Marilyn, I'm one of the retired elders. I watch and share as many Black female YouTube platforms as beneficial for now. Fabulous. Oh, thank you. Yes,
Ah,
yes. So happy you're here, Marilyn. Thank you. Oh, but yes, like you said, and I didn't get a phone until I was about 14 too. And that's around the time when social media really started taking off when I was in middle school. So I'm glad I
mm,
didn't have access to that in elementary school
oh
because
my
that would
God.
have been a
Oh,
whole different story.
literally.
Because once I found social media, the comparison
Yes.
really ticked up.
Mm,
Um, the longing, the FOMO, like missing out and seeing what other people are doing, the jealousy, envy,
right,
which she
right.
talks about a lot. All
Mm.
of these things really got amplified
Yes,
when
they
social
did.
media was created. Hmm.
Times 10,000. Like literally,
Yes.
when you were only comparing yourself to your friend group, maybe like some neighbor kids. Now it's like you're comparing yourself to the entire globe, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, we don't need to be comparing ourselves to 8 billion people.
No,
That
that
is
is so
not
true.
healthy. Oh God,
It's
no.
not. It's not healthy at all. Um, so yeah, for young Black women who are just now entering their 20s, do you
Yes.
have any advice that you would share with them?
Yes. Yes. Actually, I have a few. Let me hold on.
Hmm.
Trying to
You're
pull up
fine.
some advice. Hmm. Okay. I would definitely. My first word of advice would be definitely stop comparing yourself to your
Oh,
peers, to other black women around your age group and your friend circle, any black women you see on social media. Just stop comparing flat out. Just don't do it. You
mhm.
can really get yourself into a negative headspace when you do that, and I think that that kind of mental impact is one that can stay with you if you don't have other outlets or other ways to work around it. So don't even get it started. I would
Yes,
say that's a big
that's
one.
that's a great piece of advice. Yeah.
Thank you. What else? What else? I wrote this down. Wait a minute. And another one, I would have to. I would probably suggest them to be very selective with the kind of content they watch, the kind of things they
Mm.
ingest, because
Ooh.
especially at your like those pivotal like teen years when you're entering your early 20s, it's very easy to fall victim to certain things that sound good or that look good, and I would be very selective with the kind of people you watch, the kind of things you ingest. That's a big one,
Mm-hmm.
because especially knowing that like these algorithms kind of prey on our vulnerabilities and our weaknesses, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like they target, not target us per se, but they definitely pick up on things that we keep going back to, and it's like
Yeah.
sometimes
True.
people aren't aware of it, but we sometimes subconsciously go back to things that are hurting us, and it's a weird,
Mm.
it might be due to a weird pleasure or like the fact that we feel we deserve that kind of pain or mistreatment. So definitely have a filter, self filter what you consume, who you watch. That's a big one.
Mm.
Big one.
Wow.
Yes.
I know I said this is advice for your early 20s, but I'm taking notes because this is helpful advice for me too. Thank you for sharing this. Woo.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Because I had to, I guess I get so passionate because like I had to go through it where I'm like, oh my god, there are just some people that I watch where it's like, why did I watch you?
Mm-hmm.
Like you
That's true.
you filled my head up with nonsense for like 2 years and I didn't even see it. I didn't even,
Mm.
and I was just lucky enough to find some people who could redirect. But some people aren't that lucky. Some people can't find other like YouTubers or influencers who can
Yeah.
redirect you to a better way of thinking. So it just don't even get that started.
Wow. That is so true. Because a
Hmm.
lot of times with social media, negativity really draws people's attention in.
It's
And once you
true,
go down that rabbit hole and that cycle, the algorithm continues recommending people who focus on negativity, outrage,
right? It,
fear, right? Yeah.
especially fear. It's the biggest currency right now, especially YouTube, TikTok, even, and now YouTube Shorts. I'm like, oh,
Oh my gosh.
I
So many.
can't literally. Oh, the biggest one. Man,
Oh my gosh, that is so real. That is so real. I'm just
yes.
gonna go through these comments here. Thank y'all so much for commenting. Alicia says, yes, I got my first cell phone at 17 and all I could do was text and call. Keenness simplicity. I love that.
Yes, yes. That is a good one. If you don't have access to Wi-Fi, you know,
Yeah, that's
sometimes
true. Yeah,
just having a brick, that's it. A brick that can call and text. That's
that's
good
it.
enough.
Yes. And I remember when internet, I don't know, I might be a little old here, but when internet costs, if you press that internet button on your phone, and then like my mom would get the bill and be like, were you on the internet? Like I might have accidentally pressed it. And now the fact that
Oh,
it's just right at our fingertips all the
right.
time
Oh my god.
is wild.
Literally, you just need
Wow.
to go to Starbucks, have unfettered access. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
true.
It's
That's
insane.
true. Fancy. Yes, yes, yes. Mara, when you had free minutes on the weekends. Yes, yes. I love it. Thank y'all so much. Get into therapy in your 20s, save my life in mental. That is great advice.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
And I agree. I agree. I got into therapy, was it in my early 20s? I might have been 18 actually. So it's before I entered my 20s. But yeah,
Oh,
that was pivotal. Because, as you're coming through childhood, adolescence, you have a lot of things that you're dealing with and you're bringing into adulthood, especially if you're navigating like college transitions,
right.
relationships, job searching, all of these things kind of compile on you. So yeah, being in therapy, that is great advice, Mara. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Alicia says, Rochelle, no, you're right. They do target us. Yes. Mm-hmm. That is a good one. It is. And it's true. They do.
I have,
They do target
I have a
us.
feeling. I had a feeling they did, but I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hmm. Hmm.
Yes. They do. They do. Samri. Just bring left flip phones. Yes.
You know,
Charms and tassels and stickers.
that
Yo,
is
are we
not a
starting
bad
a movement to
idea.
bring back flip phones? I love that.
That's what we need.
The simplicity of it.
Flip phones
Yes.
2024. That's what we
Yes,
need.
yes. Alicia says, yes, I really wish I had access to therapy in my 20s. They were so hard. Whew.
Yeah.
Tell me
But
about
see,
it.
that's another thing
Mhm.
though.
Yeah.
Therapy is expensive.
It is, which is another systemic issue that we're dealing with. Like
Yes.
all of these things compounding, therapy
Right.
is inaccessible.
It's true. And it's
Sometimes when
like
you
one of
find a
those,
therapist, they're not always supportive. They're not always trustworthy, right?
right.
Because me having a graduate degree in social work, I have seen the letters behind your name do not dictate what type of person you are.
Right, right.
So that's a whole other thing with it being, like you said, unaffordable,
It's true.
inaccessible. And these are things that we really need. So that is a great point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. I think like just a few, like maybe 2 months ago or something, I was just like I was thinking, I was like, I want to look up some therapy because I have some like habits that I kind of want to like figure out like why I do certain things that I do. And I
Mhm.
was like trying to wonder like, is it from like childhood things that I experienced or is it like just like innately my personality? And like, I don't know,
Mhm.
I've always had this question like why do I do the things I do? That's just like the main question that always like rings into my head.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
literally was like calling up one clinic like 2 months ago, and she was like, "Yeah, for like a 60-minute visit, it'll be like $585." I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
where can we
That
put
is
a pause
wild.
on that?"
Yeah. $500 for an
Literally,
hour?
yes, per like she was quoting me like that was intense. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Ooh, that is
crazy.
such a great point. There really does need to be a movement for therapy that is accessible,
Yes.
culturally relevant, and
True.
yeah, affordable. Because
Affordable.
$500 for an hour, I don't know who can do that. Oh
I
my gosh.
almost dropped the phone. I was like, yeah. Uh, I guess I'm just gonna have to contemplate these life questions in my own head because I
Yeah,
don't know if the psychologist can help me.
yeah. And you know
Mm,
what? That makes me think about the importance of like self healing,
yes.
which I know Alicia and Mara talk about on their channels. Like just talking about the things that have happened to us in a safe and supportive community is so healing, but
Right.
you aren't able to access mental health resources because they're unaffordable and inaccessible.
Right.
So if we continue to create these safe spaces where we can heal together by sharing our stories, I think
Mm.
that's powerful while we work on the huge issue of
The
lack of
financial
mental
barrier.
health care access. Yes.
Right.
Woo.
Right. I know. Mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay. So
Yes.
pivoting a little bit to career choices.
Hmm.
Um, I know we talked about a little bit in the interview that I did on your channel, but how have you approached choosing opportunities that align with your goals and values when you're navigating selecting a career?
Hmm. Well, I definitely would say the biggest one is like find something that you can see yourself doing long term. Like
Mm,
if it's something that even And I think, like you said in our last interview, like we all have these like certain qualities that we kind of start seeing bubble up to the surface at a certain age from the time we're like pretty young. But I think
Yeah.
most of us suppress that. And I think one thing in terms of like career choices, definitely pick something that you can start seeing signs that you can like you're inkling towards.
Yeah.
Like if you're someone who's like squeamish around blood,
Me. That's me.
definitely don't go into anything like nursing related, anything
Yes.
that's like
Yes.
MD, or if you can't even stand to like look at like someone's teeth, definitely stay
Me.
away from anything dentistry, anything like that, because
Yeah.
that's your first ticket out of there. And
Yeah.
just find things that you like and that fill you up. If you really like talking to people and like kind of helping people with their problems, whether it's like emotional or like psychological, think about going into therapy, think about becoming a psychiatrist, anything in that field. Or if you just like teaching, like, and you're not so fond of like teaching like children per se, then think about becoming a professor if that's something you're into. And it's just
Mm.
like find things like take heed of what you're starting to gravitate towards, because it starts young too. So
Mm-hmm.
anything that you can pick up on, like, okay, I really like just being in other people's company, but at the same time, I like my alone time. Maybe think about becoming a librarian. Like just think
Yeah.
about certain things that like kind of tip you off a little.
That's great advice. Yeah, kind of do like what you like and don't like, which is so
Yes,
important.
yes,
Um,
and
I
research,
yes.
research,
Oh,
research,
that's important.
research. And
Yeah.
I would honestly say, don't even start my mom my mom thinks I'm like a little too extreme with this, but I honestly think even starting by the time you're in high school is a little too late to start thinking about what you want to do as a career, just
Hmm.
because I have personal experience with this where I thought I wanted to do something. I thought I wanted to become an animator like
Gotcha.
all throughout high school, because
Yeah.
I loved watching AMVs, anime
Hmm.
music videos. I love them. I loved like the frantic movement. I just loved all of it. The action. I loved it. Everything. And
Hmm.
then when it got time to high school, and I made certain class choices that kind of dictated that I'd go in that path. It wasn't until
Hmm.
like my last year of high school where I realized, oh shoot,
Hmm.
maybe I don't want to be an animator. But I was already 4 years deep. And like,
Right.
I was like, oh, wow. Like, especially because I realized getting an animation job is really hard. And
Mm.
also, like, I just realized I wasn't drawing like to the amount that I needed to draw. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, maybe that's a tip off. But at the time, I was like, no, 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 no. It's just I don't like drawing like, like still life, or I don't like drawing like static images. Like, but really, it's like the drawing's like the prerequisite. Like you need to like I like drawing, but it has to be on my time and it has to be like one picture max. So
Mm. Hmm.
so literally
Gotcha.
these like little signs that were like maybe animation isn't it? But like I just did not listen. I just kept chugging through 4 years in, and I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, grade 12. I was already like, yeah, I don't think this is it. So I had to pivot and find something else that was more in my wheelhouse, and also that correlated with the courses I already chose beforehand, because it was already like too late at that point. I was going to graduate in like a few more months. So
Hmm.
I went to office administration instead. And thankfully, like the stuff I had, the courses I stacked up, and like the level like the streams that I did allowed me to do that instead. So it's
Hmm.
definitely one of those things I wish I would have taken more seriously at the time, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I just put it in the back of my head like I like watching it on YouTube, so clearly I must want to do it as a career, but very different, very different.
And
So
that's important. You touch on a point that we're expected to know what we want to do from such a
yes,
young age, and we're put on these paths that are like set in stone. So if
right,
the time comes, when you're naturally exploring your options at this age, and you don't
right.
want to do what you thought you wanted to do, it's very hard to change course.
It's
And I
so
have
hard.
found that to be a thing too. Like, how am I
Oh,
supposed to know what I want to do for the rest of my life when I'm 18? That
right.
never made sense to me.
or even
Mm-hmm.
14, when you're
Yeah.
like literally
True.
set up from the time you're 14. Pick a stream that determines what college or
Yes.
university you go to. And if you don't, you're and by grade 10 you're locked in. So when you're
Mm-hmm.
locked in at grade 10, literally 15, that's the trajectory you're on. There's no deviating. It's like, oh my god. So I would definitely say research. I'd say look into this by the when you're in middle school, like
Mm-hmm.
11, 12, 13. Start
Wow.
thinking, because
Wow.
by grade 9, when you're 14, I'm sorry, but the school systems are designed where it's like it locks you in by
True.
as early as that.
Yeah.
So if you have inklings that you're like, I'm not sure, take heed. Don't keep
Mm-hmm.
going like me. Listen to that, and
Mm-hmm.
just just make sure you research even from the time you're in middle school, because high school, I'd hate to say, I don't want to scare people, but I feel like even in high school it's a bit too late.
Mm.
So
That's important. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you're expected to know exactly what you want to do before you even get into high school. How is
Right.
that possible? You haven't even lived life yet. You haven't even
It's true.
like
It's true.
experiences, explored things to find out what you like and don't like.
It's
That
true.
pressure is
It's a
just
it's a lot of pressure, but I feel like that's just one of the things they don't tell you about. Like once you pick a path, it's like you're kind of locked in. It's
mm,
it's really it's unfortunate, but it's really hard
yeah,
to
that
deviate.
is true. Yeah, thank you for
Hmm.
sharing that because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. I certainly can.
Yes.
Um, yeah, just want to read a few comments here. Okay, Marilyn. Especially our young black females to wake up and listen. You ladies are examples of real black life for females. Oh, wow. Thank you. That's beautiful. Support and community is essential. Yes, I completely
Yes.
agree with that. Samri says studying psychology was a game changer in helping me interpret the world around me, made sense of things that have very little logic. Yes, yes. I know studying
Mm,
psychology in college for like the required course I had was
yes.
very important in me realizing why people behave the way that they behave. It's
Oh
like,
my
whew,
god. It's so fascinating. Oh,
it
so
is, it is. Mara says Coda meetings are a free source, really helpful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
fascinating.
Thank you. Samri says I was aiming for pre med when I was in high school. I quickly pivoted when I learned about the long work hours and the high stress work environment. Yes, yes. Pre med was something. The people that I was in college with who were in the pre med track were always stressed out.
Hmm.
Always. I didn't see a relaxed pre med student at all. Um,
What's
Yeah, and that speaks to like the tremendous pressure, right?
oh,
Again, to have
right.
everything together, to have everything set, to
Hmm.
excel while you're doing all this, while you're
Right.
still understanding and learning yourself. It's
Hmm.
unreal. It really
It's
is.
it's so unfair.
It is. It is. Mara said, I studied nursing for 1 month and was like, wait, I need straight A's. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, the pressure with grades.
That's
Oh
another
my god.
thing.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, the pressure with grades is so real, and like the
True.
thresholds, you have to be
Oh,
over your GPA
there's
has to be over a certain thing to qualify for scholarships.
they're so
And if you drop
strict.
below that, all your funding gets pulled.
It's
What is happening?
insane. It's insane. Oh, what
There
is
is so
this?
much. I
What is
know. I ask myself that every day. What is this?
this?
Oh my
What is
gosh.
it's
Oh my
true.
gosh. Going off of that,
Hmm.
practices in
Hmm.
maintaining your well-being, because we know that
Hmm.
is it can be very difficult. But if you have any advice for practices that you do that you would like to share with other black women in their early 20s.
Well, I definitely go back to being very very mindful of what you watch, what you consume. And
Mm-hmm.
another big one is just don't I know it can be really hard. Like I definitely struggle with that. Like struggling with like comparing myself to just my friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely just realize that their life journey, their path is doesn't have to be your path. And
Right.
that what your friends are doing is their business and their business only, and what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing is your business. And even though you guys practically grew up together, probably went to the same schools, are close friends, your lives are most likely going to go in very different directions. And don't, and also not to be afraid of like when that deviation happens, because it can be scary when like you have one friend that you've known since high school, they're going to a different school, and it gets kind of hard to stay in contact. Don't be scared, and kind of just take it as it comes, because it's a big life change, it's a big shift. And
Mm-hmm.
anything that's such a pivotal change in your life, you're gonna have some drop off of like
Mm-hmm.
in your life, and I think that's only natural, because something that massive change like that, going from high school to like university, college, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a massive shift. So don't don't get so bogged down by like losing friends here or there just because of the massive change of life that you're going through, and realize that you'll probably things will even out eventually. There will be an equilibrium. You'll probably make new friends at wherever the school you're going to, and just not to be so consumed if that inevitably happens, because it does. People
Mm.
change, people grow, people go on different life paths. Not to
That's
be
very
scared
true.
of
That's very
that. And
true. And yeah, that the ending of friendships or relationships, especially
right,
when you're in your 20s, that happens a lot. And we're
it's
kind
true.
of taught to like cling on to things that should
Hmm.
be
With dear
ending.
life.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Like I even think about like I'm thinking about jobs, right? Like
Yes.
and relationships, everything. We're taught to cling on in fear
Right.
that we're not going to ever get anything better or
Yes.
better suited to our needs.
Hmm. And that's
Hmm.
true, because you changed so much in those years too. Like
Yes.
I'm like, I definitely realized like there are aspects of my personality that have been cemented from the time I was like 14, 15, around there. But there are
Hmm.
other aspects where it's like I realized some of my friends that I hung out with in high school, I feel like, because I mean, especially with the pandemic and everything, since we've been so apart for so long, I feel like there were changes that I made in my own life, in my own time, in my own company, that maybe
Hmm.
they're not aware of. And I feel like sometimes I think it's inevitable when you hang around people that you've grown up with. It's like they still see you as that version of you, and they kind of
Yes.
see you as that, like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I remember like 14-year-old Rochelle. It's like, yes, there are aspects of
Yes.
me in there, but I'm 23 now. Like, I'm different. I've grown. I've changed. I've learned things. I know what I want, what I don't want, what I won't accept, what I will accept. It's like you
Ooh.
grow, and I feel like sometimes if you have friends in your life that can't see you for who you are now, I think in
Hmm.
that aspect, it's better to just you can be friends with them, but sometimes maybe at a distance, or just like kind of let them
Hmm.
go, because it's always going to be that constant battle where it's like they treat you a certain way. Like I knew of
Hmm.
a friend even back in like middle school who saw me a certain way and who treated me a certain way, and it's like anytime I came in contact with her, she'd revert to that relationship of how I used to be, even when I was like 12 years old, 13 years old. And it's like
Oh. Hmm.
she just saw me in that light, even though I was probably like 6 years older. But it's like she
Right.
never saw me for who I
Wow.
was, and it can be hard, because it's like sometimes you have the natural tendency to revert yourself, but it's like sometimes if you're that's one thing I realized about myself, that I was kind of like sometimes I was not putting up a front, but like
Hmm.
sometimes I would just be so energetic that like when I would be in my natural moods of like, okay, I'm a little chill, I'm a little mellowed out. That energy's kind of dwindled, maybe because of age, I don't know. But when they come into contact with me, it's like sometimes
Yeah.
they don't want to disappoint, because it's like they remembered me when I was energetic and lively when I was like
Mm.
14, 13. But it's like I've kind of mellowed out a little. I'm still fun, but I'm
Hmm.
not as rah energetic. And
Right.
it
Right.
can be kind of scary to get to like meet people from your past, because they can kind of
Mm.
cause you to revert yourself, and you might not want to revert.
That is so powerful. That is so true. Because
Yeah.
often, you said, like in those relationships, when you are growing up, people see you one
Mhm.
way and they want you to be that way for their comfort. They want you to
Yes.
stay in that role that they remembered you in when you're evolving
Yes.
constantly. Wow.
Right. Right, and sometimes you're
Hmm.
scared to say that you're evolving or show it in ways. So it's sometimes easier to just revert to that old way, even though it's
Mm.
something that you're not necessarily happiest about, like that time in your life when you did that because it might have been a front, or you might have been
Yeah.
overcompensating for something. And I was
Mm.
really big into like wanting to be liked in those days, but like
Hmm.
now I'm like, "Ah, I don't care." I'm like, if you, and the biggest one, oh, that's another one, especially
Hmm.
for people entering their 20s.
Hmm.
A great quote. I think I don't know. Maybe I made it up in my own head, but I had this epiphany when I was entering high school. I was like, wait, okay, do I want to be friends with everyone? And when I realized, I was like, no, I don't, because there were some people in my high school that I would see, and I'd be like, I don't know if I want to be friends with you. I wouldn't want to be friends with you, and not like
Hmm.
super judgy, but just
Yeah,
naturally, it's like
yeah. Hmm.
we wouldn't mesh, and it's like that epiphany helped me so much because I was such in that phase of like, oh, I wanted to be liked by everyone, but then it hit me. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't even like everyone. Why would I? So why would everyone
Wow.
like me? And it was that light bulb moment, like when I was entering. I think it was like when I was even leaving high school. That big epiphany moment I had, middle high school, end of high school. I was like, that set me free so much. I was like, boom. I was like,
Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
powerful. I'm still learning that lesson because as a
Mm,
recovering people pleaser, I have
mm,
tried to make people like me that I don't even like. So
yes.
that is very important. I don't like
Yes.
everyone, so it's okay if
Yes.
everyone doesn't like me. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're
There's so
welcome.
you're sharing so many gems tonight. Seriously.
It literally changed the game for me. That
Mhm.
one, like that one idea, that one true game changer. It really helped me because I was like, I don't even like everyone. It
That's
was so
true.
hard. I was,
That's
oh man,
true.
that set me so free. Oh God,
Thank
never looked back
you.
since.
Okay. I want to read some comments here. Thank y'all so much for commenting. Okay. Exactly. Samri says, yes, there will be changes to your friend groups in every stage of life, and that's okay. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
And I think the more that we can learn that it's okay for things to end, and it doesn't
Mhm.
mean you'll never have anything again, because I know that that was a message that was very strong. If this
Right.
ends, nothing else will replace it. And you'll
Right.
be, because the fear of being isolated and alone is often
Right.
hung over our heads from such a young age. But if you
Mhm.
can trust that if something's coming to its natural end and it
Right.
ends, something better will be down the road. Absolutely.
It's true. It's true.
Mara says, child trauma bonding with
Mm.
friends and jobs is a thing. Yes, it
Mm.
is.
Yes.
Absolutely is. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, especially when we talk about like toxic workplaces, right? Trauma
Yes.
bonding is like
Mm. Very
key.
cathartic. Yes.
Yeah, because we're like,
Yes.
we're hooked to these places that are harming us, trying to
Right.
constantly seek their approval. And often that wound is in childhood. So, yes, yes,
Mm.
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Marilyn says some things should be kept to yourself unless they're for you. That's true. That's true.
Mhm,
Discernment.
mhm.
Discernment is
Right.
important.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't tell everyone your business. Don't tell everyone what you're doing or what you're planning on doing. I had a
That's
really bad
true.
habit of doing that when I was younger, like just telling everyone, like, oh, I want to do this, I plan to do that, and this and that. And it's like, so I was putting all that artificial pressure on myself, and it's like, why am I telling you this? I
Mm.
didn't even make a plan yet. So
That's
yes, keep
important
something
because not
to
everyone, yeah, sorry.
no, it's true. Just keep some things to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, close
That's
to the
true.
chest.
Yep.
Yes,
Because not everyone wants to support you, unfortunately. And I think
that's
that's the
true.
thing I have learned as I have matured. Not
Mm.
everyone has your best interests at heart. Some people actively want to see you not
Yeah,
achieve your goals, not get to where you want to be, because it kind of boosts
true.
their confidence. If we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about things like extremely insecure people, narcissistic people. So, yes, that is
Yes,
key. That is key.
yes,
Okay. Yes. The fallacy of sunk costs, let things people go. Yes.
yes.
Thank you,
Yeah, like
Samri.
I invested like 10 years of my life to this friendship or like this relationship, I gotta
Yes.
just push like 3 more years out of it. It's like, why?
Mm. Oh my God, that's so true. I
So
never thought about the
true.
sunk cost fallacy in terms of relationships. Wow.
Hmm.
So many things. I'm going to have to go back and watch this interview, y'all, because it is so many things. Yes, yes. Mira says, yes, you grow apart. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
It's true.
Rochelle's channel, The Reset with Rochelle, right?
Yes, yes. The
Okay,
reason.
okay. I think I linked it in the description section, so it should be there. If
Oh,
not, I'll make sure it is after we get off.
thank
But
you.
yes, y'all, please subscribe to her channel. She is sharing so many gems, and this is supposed to be for people in your early 20s. I'm like, the lessons being shared tonight. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. We can love. Yeah, at a distance. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's very true.
Mira says, when my best friend went away to college and I stayed in my city, we grew in a lot of ways from the time apart. We are still besties. It's like learning each other all over again in a way. Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
that's
And sometimes you reconnect
right.
with people down the road.
Yes, that's
Mm-hmm.
true. That's a
Yeah.
good one. Sometimes you do reconnect, and it's like you
Yes.
rediscover each other. Oh, that's the
Mm-hmm.
best.
That's
Oh,
true. Yes, yes, yes. There are some friendships I had to end. Yep, me too.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish we would teach people who are coming up, people who are younger, that lesson more
Right.
often. Sometimes you
Right.
got to cut people off, and it's
Yes.
okay because
Right.
people will try to steal your energy. Some people, if you let them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, protect your energy at all cost.
The biggest
Yes.
the biggest one that
Mm-hmm.
I realized when I had to like drop a friend was when it seemed like they didn't, not only did they not respect me, but it's like they didn't, they befriended me because out of out of pity.
Oh
That was, I was like,
no.
oh no, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
The minute that word left her mouth, I was like, nope, we're done. You went
Mm-hmm.
down. I was like, we are,
Yes.
no, I am not your charity case. We are not doing that here.
Right.
If you need pity, pity yourself. Please just leave that to yourself. Like, no.
Mm.
And
Wow.
no, I'm not doing pity friendships.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Mm-mm,
And
mm-mm,
that's
no.
important to find out people's motivations. Why are they wanting to
Mhm.
get close to you? Why are they looking to build something with you? If they say,
Right.
like, do their actions match the words? And are you
Mhm.
okay with what they say? Because the fact that she said that,
Oh,
no, absolutely
God,
not.
no. And there were red flags. She would say certain stuff through the years, but at that time, I did not have a backbone. So I just put
Mm.
up with certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
literally that whole sentence, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I was like, "Oh, we're done
Mm-hmm.
here. We
Wow.
nope. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah.
You are
And good
not
for
pitting me
you.
over here."
Yes, good for
Thank you.
you. Because I feel like a lot
And
of
look,
us are taught we have to cling on to even stuff like that that's harmful. And you're like,
literally,
absolutely not.
no. No, I feel
Wow.
like being pitied is like the worst feeling ever. Like it's horrible.
Wow.
It's just
Mm.
I'd take nothing over being
Mm-hmm.
pitied.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm,
That's very true. Thank you for
mhm.
sharing that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Marilyn says we grow and take different paths. Yeah, we do. Others must accept it even if they don't move on. There's possibilities and doors to open and experience and meet loving people. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
There's an
Right.
abundance of people, opportunities, and places out there. Something I wish I
Right.
would have been taught. You don't have to
Mm,
stay somewhere that's harming you around people who are
right.
harming you. You have the
Right.
agency to leave,
Mhm.
move,
Right.
not a
And
tree.
I feel
I
like
love that.
I, yes. I feel like the scarcity mindset is so prevalent. It's so, like it's
Mm-hmm.
so prevalent. It's so like the scarcity mindset runs through everything. It's like, oh, just stay at that job because you don't know when you'll get another one. It's like,
Oh,
but sir, they're working me to like the bone here. It's like
yes.
the scarcity. You have to let the scarcity, because some people use that as an excuse, like, oh, you can like get away with doing certain actions or certain behaviors for like 5, 10 years just because like you only got one shot. You only got one shot. It's like even
Mm-hmm.
in the like the music, it's like you only have one shot, one chance. It's like
True.
this scarcity
True.
mindset drives, and I feel like so many people act out of scarcity, out of fear. Like we only have this one
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. It's like, but you could live till you're like 90. You don't know, like there. Do
Yeah.
you know how many years
Mm-hmm.
that is? You have so many chances to
That's
like do
true.
things. You don't have to live in this scarcity mindset. It kills. It kills.
It does. It really does kill. Yeah, and we're taught like in
Hmm.
our 20s that our life kind of ends at 30 all the time. And we have to pack everything into like a decade in order for it to count. Like, yo, I hope I
The
live a lot
pressure.
longer and like have different experiences and stuff like that. All of my life
Mm.
experience is not going to be in my 20s, but there's that
Right.
pressure. You need to tick all the boxes that
Hmm.
society has for you before you
Yes.
exit your 20s. Why? Who made that
Like
up? No.
literally, it's crazy. And especially now, like thanks to social media, it's like now you're having these pockets of certain toxic spheres growing
Yeah.
of where they use
Mm-hmm.
certain language, especially towards women. Like, oh,
Yes.
you're past 21. You've hit the now there's the term you hit the wall. It's like,
Past
oh my
21 now?
god.
Oh
Yes, they
my
lowered it.
gosh. They lowered
It
it.
varies between 20. It varies between 21 and 25, but they never go to
Oh,
26. It's always 21 to 25. I'm like, oh my god, what is this theoretical hypothetical wall you're talking about? Oh my god, it's
right.
insane. I'm like, young people, young women, please, especially young black women, stay off.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away from these
Yes.
spheres because they will
Yes.
bring you nothing but misery, and they will bring you nothing but fear. Just stay away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Yes.
couldn't. I was like, no.
That is so
They hit the
important.
wall. My
I
butt.
cannot
Mm-mm,
believe
mm-mm.
21,
Cool.
25.
20,
You're just
25.
getting to know who you are.
Ah,
Your
you
brain's not even
are.
fully developed. What is
Yes.
this pressure that we're all
Hmm.
under at such a young age? Oh
Well,
my
look at the
gosh.
people putting this pressure on you.
That's true.
Is it a certain
That's
type of
true.
man?
That's true.
Because if it is,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely something off with him. 'Cause I'm
Yep.
like, sir, you're 45. What are you talking about? You're
Telling me that
50.
I gotta be exactly. No. Mm-mm. That's not
Sir,
gonna work.
you're closer to 60 than you are to even 30. Like what are you talking about?
Right.
Women hit the wall. You must have hit your wall long ago then, sir. Because
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and see, the
Projecting.
thing is
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very mindful of this kind of one-sided, like this one-sided language, this one-sided definition of things. Because if it doesn't work both ways, there's a flaw
Mm-hmm.
here. So be very
Mm.
mindful of that too. Because
Mm-hmm. That's
six,
true. That's true.
6 year
If
old.
someone says something like as fact and they don't leave any room for your life experience and your
Right.
perspective, that is a red flag. Because it's like, no,
Right. No.
I'm not just taking what you say as a word. Yes, absolutely. Oh,
Hmm.
great advice. Mara says yes. Passive aggressive friends. You peep things when you get older. Backhanded compliments. Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I have had my
Yes.
share of passive aggressive friends. Those are like really hurtful
Right.
relationships.
Right. It's
When people
true.
throw those little barbs in there, like, you look good,
Right.
like now, like better than you. Like, girl,
Right.
I don't,
Right.
I don't need
Oh
that.
my
Stay
god.
over there with that. Yes.
Are they like they make like they highlight a certain like facial feature that like you can't change, probably don't want to change, and it's like
Hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
did you bring that up? Like of course I don't grow up with seeing my face every day. It's like why did you have
Right.
to mention that? Like was that relevant? Like,
Not at
and they
all.
say it in a tone where it's like, like what?
Mm-hmm.
Why? What was the point of that? You want to just see the insecurity in me? Most likely.
Right. They do. They do.
What? What was the point? Like why?
Because so many people, I was talking about this earlier on a
Mm,
video I did. Our society, our
yeah,
culture thrives on insecurity. So we're
it's true.
constantly trying to get back pieces of ourselves by putting down
Right.
other people. It's like, no, I don't have to
No.
engage in that. I don't have to perpetuate that because that is harmful
No.
to everyone around me.
Right.
No,
And see, that's how
no.
you know someone's not happy in their life. Because would a happy
Mm-hmm.
person ever make comments like that ever? Like,
No.
no, a person who's happy and content with themselves go about their
Mm-hmm.
life
Yep.
not even noticing a single flaw on anyone else.
Yep.
Even if it's there, they'll never say it. They'll probably never even mention it because it's like they're too busy enjoying their life, being content with
Yes.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out for people like that too.
That's true. That's true. That's key advice. Yes. Alicia says, "Yep, I hung on to relationships too long, got my heart broken. I'm sorry, man. Yes, know when to let go. Yes, that is so true.
Yes.
Know when to let go. Whew. If someone had told me that when I entered or I entered my 20s, know when to let go. Whew, things would have been different.
Oh,
Yes, that is so true.
truly.
Whew. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry you experienced that too. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. Friendships can be a great source of pain when you're in a friendship with the
Hmm.
wrong person who's
Right.
like you said, what are their motivations? What are they trying to prop themselves up by like seeing you as an opportunity to put down? Like
Hmm.
no, no,
Hmm.
no, not
Hmm.
here for that at all. Mara says, yeah, I walked away from a 10-year relationship. It was a trauma bond, but it felt freeing because when you grow your boundaries, do too. Yes, a whole when you
Hmm.
grow your boundaries do too. No love lost, still grieving though. Yeah, sending you love, Mara. Yes, when you grow
Yeah.
your boundaries is a whole other topic. I know this was not on our question list, but I had zero boundaries. Going into
Hmm.
my 20s, being
Yeah.
harmed, just now getting to the point where I'm realizing that I have the power to establish boundaries. I have the
Right.
power to say no because no one told me
Right.
that. So I was just over
Mm.
here just saying yes to everything that came. It's like, no, that's not a good strategy. Do you have any like tips on building boundaries
Building
in
back.
your
I
20s?
would say it definitely starts young. Starts very
Mm.
young.
Mm-hmm.
And someone used a great example. They said when you bring your kid to the park and your inclination is to tell your kid to share with the other kid, and it's like you don't give them a choice. And it's like she was saying like how it
Oh.
starts from even that young because it's like
Mm-hmm.
why why are you putting it in your kids' heads that they have to share, even if
Mm-hmm.
they're showing uncomfortability or they're showing that they rather keep playing with the thing they're playing with. And it's like
Right.
she said, it starts from the time you're even like a preschooler, like that you're already instilling in your kids, like you have to share. Or she even used a good
Mm.
example of like how when you're younger, it's like you just that someone just tells you go hug this person, and it's like you
Yep.
don't even ask your kid like, do you want to be hugged? Can this
Mm-hmm.
family member hug you? Can this family friend like any? And it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
already just assumed like no, you just must hug the person, and it's like from such an early age, and I would say it starts very young because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like especially girls are like kind of taught to just like go along, get along, and like just accept anything, accept sharing, even if you don't want to share, accept
Ooh.
being hugged without any permission or being asked. And I
Yep.
actually think it's like I think in some movies now or some TV shows nowadays, they kind of have it where the character asks the other character if they want to be hugged. And I think that's the cutest thing ever. It's so cute.
Oh wow.
Like I think that's so sweet. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so cute. And it makes the moment even sweeter. Like I think we
Yeah.
just have to set like it starts with consent, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
consent is like the crux of that
Yep.
because without consent, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have the foundation to build boundaries on. So it starts very young.
Wow. That's powerful, Rochelle.
Yeah.
Yes, it is consent. It is. Cause yeah, you're taught like you come here right with the ability to say, no, I don't like this, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to hug this person. And then other
Yes.
people around you tell you, no, you have to. So
Yes.
that choice, that agency that we all have when we
Taken
come
away.
here is challenged. And then by the time
Mm.
we get to adulthood, some of us were like, we can't, we just got to
Right.
entertain everyone and everything. It's like, no,
Right. Because it's like it
no.
was taught to be, it was almost like subtly, not so subtly stamped out of you. So it's
Yeah,
like when
true.
you're 19, 20, it's like that, you haven't developed the ability to have, like, understand consent and develop the ability to build boundaries if it's meant to protect and, like, keep you safe. It's like we
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't, we're not just these wells of just giving constantly. Like, and people look at it like it's you're being selfish. It's like, what's wrong with that?
Exactly. You have
Sometimes,
self-preservation is your right. You have to protect yourself. Yes.
yes, sometimes it's good to be selfish. If it means you're
Yes.
keeping yourself out of harm's way or out of situations that aren't good for you, And it's crazy because I feel like women get it the worst. It's just like really like
It's true. Yep.
don't let me
We
hug the family friend if I don't want to. Like
seriously, that's so
hmm,
important. And we do get
it's
that
true.
message so intensely, especially as
Mhm.
Black women. It's like, no, we don't have to be grateful
I
for anything that comes in our orbit.
oh my god,
Everything comes in our orbit. I'm not about to be grateful for everything. Some
yes,
stuff got to be pushed out.
you reminded me of something. The
Yeah.
hair,
Uh
hair
huh.
touching.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my
I
god.
cannot tell you how many times someone has touched my hair. Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh,
It's
bodily autonomy. It's like, no, you do not have any right to touch anything on my body. Like, no, absolutely not.
no. Oh,
Nope. And I think
man.
the roots of that, right, are like enslavement because
Hmm.
our bodies were not protected in the eyes of people who were enslaving our
Right.
ancestors. So it's like they still feel
Mhm.
like they can touch us without our
Right.
consent. No,
Right. Like when you're seen as
absolutely
like
not.
property to some people, it's like, oh, it's
Yes.
like I don't need to ask my dog for consent basically, or like I don't need to go and like make sure your shoes are clean. It's like these things where it's like if you're not seen as the fully formed human that you are, it's like
Mm-hmm.
that things like that are able to run rampant because it's like
Right.
consent for who? Autonomy what? Like
Mm.
autonomy for me. Like
Yeah, exactly.
hmm
Oh, wow. This
yeah.
conversation is everything. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of this. Oh.
Thank you.
Alicia says yes. It's literally just misogyny. Misogynoir. Yes. Irritating. Life is beautiful at all stages. Yes. I am
Yeah.
still mind blown that 21 is now the 30 and
Mm,
people who are misogynistic, like, no,
mm.
no, honey.
It's
Y'all can
so
go somewhere with
gross.
that.
Oh, it's so
No.
gross. It's so gross.
Oh. Mira says, I'm not perfect. Also, too, though, I was that karmic friend too. Healing is a journey. It is. It is a
Mm,
heal. Yeah, healing is definitely a journey. And yeah, sometimes it's like recognizing some of those things within ourselves
right.
so that we can improve and be better friends, better partners to people in the future. Absolutely.
Yes.
Alicia says, yes, I'm so glad you chose yourself and your boundaries. That's huge. It is huge. It
Yeah.
really is. It really is. Yes, 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 yes. Thank y'all so much for commenting. Marilyn says, don't waste your time, energy. If they're not listening to you, smile, walk away, shake it off. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. Your energy is precious.
It's
Something that I'm
true.
learning. You have to conserve it
You
because
do.
people will take incessantly. Like,
Mhm.
no, no.
Right.
Absolutely. Alicia says, choosing my boundaries was so scary. Me too. Me too. And my fears are realized. They left, but I'm better for it. It still hurts though. Sending
Mm.
you so much love. Ooh, I feel that too. I
Yeah.
feel that. Because sometimes when you do put up those boundaries, the people who love to take from you,
Right.
they'll leave.
They
And
can't handle
sometimes,
it.
like, yeah, when we have childhood wounds,
Mm.
those are reopened because, like, when people leave, even though they need to leave because they
Right.
continue to take and not give, those
Mm.
wounds are still being opened. So I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
Oh, yes, yes. Marilyn says, be very, very selective who you allow in your space. It's a quality of true friendship, not quantity. Yes.
Yeah.
Quality over quantity. We're
Yes.
taught that we have to have all of these friends to
Mm-hmm.
be legitimate. No, you don't.
No.
If
No.
your friends are not supporting you, uplifting you, encouraging you all the time,
Right.
mm-mm,
You can
no.
still be in a crowd and like feel lonely. So it's like
Yeah, you can.
it's not about the quantity. You can be surrounded by 30 friends and 30 friends or people and it's like you still
Mm-hmm.
feel isolated. You still feel alone. You still feel not
That's
understood.
so true. That's so
Quality.
true.
Quality.
Quality over quantity. Yes,
Every
yes.
time.
It's okay. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yes.
That is so true.
It's so it's
Yes.
so endearing when I see that. I was like, oh yes,
Yeah.
that's right. You hug. You ask
Yeah.
for that hug. You ask if it's okay to kiss you. I love
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Yes, yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, Alicia, you do. You do. We met, you're like, can I hug you? Like, girl, yes, of course. But yes, I do appreciate that. Yeah, some people don't like to be touched. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very true.
Oh, thank you, Mira. Yeah. Yes. I definitely respect when people say no to my hugs offer. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Because you don't know what people are dealing with, right? You don't know what people
right.
experienced.
That's
You don't know
true.
what may be triggering to them.
Mhm.
So that is important to ask before you touch.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. It is beautiful. It
I
is.
love it. I love the conversation.
I know. Yes, yes, because some who are autistic, which I know several don't like to be touched. Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for commenting. This has been beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I did want to ask you, as you're moving forward in your 20s, what are your hopes and aspirations for your mid and late 20s and beyond?
Well, a big thing is I'm hoping COVID is
Oh,
behind us
yes.
all. I'm hoping that this can be a distant memory that will be in history books, but we never have to relive again.
Yes, me too.
And I definitely a big goal of mine is to have like a nice nest egg saved up because I do
Mm.
savings are
Hmm.
very important, and also
Yeah.
think about like investing sooner rather than later
Mm.
because
Hmm.
compounding interest. I'm not getting
Yes.
any younger, so I'd like to start
Yeah.
that as soon as I'm able,
Hmm.
preferably in my 20s. And I'd also like to, because I want to dabble in being a novelist and writing. So I hope to have some novels behind my belt when I'm
That's
entering.
amazing.
Yes, I don't know because like the thing we said where you get hints, little sparks from an early age,
Yeah.
and I for some reason I'd get these ideas in my head, like fictional story ideas, and I feel like I'm the only one in my family who gets these ideas. Like my dad doesn't get them. My mom, she's like, no, I'm a better editor than like some storyteller. So I'm like, okay, so this is coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's
Hmm.
coming from, but like I put them in my phone and just keep them saved up because I'm like, you know what? Like I gotta. These ideas are coming for some reason. They're coming
Yeah.
for out of somewhere. So I
Hmm.
feel like it would be a shame if I squandered the gift or whatnot. So hopefully, in my entering my late 20s, mid 20s, I have a book or two, maybe a few.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank
I That's
you.
actually one of my dreams too. And like you said, yes, what you have, what you do from an early age, gifts
Mhm.
that you have, the talents that come naturally to you, that
Mhm.
could be something to pursue because I've always loved writing. So yeah, I'm writing a book at the moment.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
So we both
yes.
gonna be authors. Yeah, I love
Oh my
that.
god! I'm gonna pre-order it as soon as you make the announcement. As soon as you
Oh,
say you're pre-ordering, I'm pre-ordering that thing right away. As soon as it drops. Oh my
thank
gosh,
you.
we
Thank
we, we
you.
can do this together.
We can. We
Oh my gosh,
can. And that's
love
why community is so important because a lot of us are working on the same things. And it
right,
feels like we have to be isolated often. It
mm,
feels like we have to do things by ourselves in order
right.
for them to count. It's like, no, a lot of us are working on
But
the
you
same
don't,
things. We can get energy from each other as we're
right?
doing it. So, yay, absolutely.
Yes.
And you said something else about investing in your
Mm-hmm.
20s.
Yes.
So key because I did not
Mhm.
know this at all. But Adelia Borshade, Picky Girl Travels the World on
Mm,
YouTube, she talks a lot about the importance of investing in your 20s for, like you
right.
said, compound interest.
Mm-hmm.
Because the earlier you start investing in things like a Roth IRA, you can
Mm,
grow your nest egg so
yes.
much bigger if you the earlier you start. So
Right.
that is so pivotal, and I'm so glad you shared that information. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see here in the comments. Yes, exactly. Yes, this is my husband. Yes, the way of the American school system. Absolutely.
Mm,
It tells us that we have to be in structure, we have to be in a set path. If we
right.
deviate from that path, it's like, no, there's no room for that. There's no room for exploration of your
Right.
interest. You're just
Mm.
locked in from such an early age. And yeah, ooh, so worth it. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marilyn, for being
You.
here. Truly. Yay. Yes, yes. Okay. Well, as we wrap up, I
Mm-hmm.
do want to ask how people can get in contact with you and or continue to follow your amazing journey as an author
Oh
and
gosh,
anything else that you do online because
thank
we want to
you.
support you. You are
Oh,
amazing. Thank you for sharing everything today.
thank you. Yes, so my YouTube channel is The Reset with Rochelle. That is my personal growth channel, and I do I I'm still like trying to figure out like the the true like area, the direction I want to take it in, because I do love interviews, but interviews can be like a little hard because depending on like how long it can take to find someone to interview, it's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure because I want to still have that be there, but I also I'm trying to figure out what other kind of content I want to have on there. But definitely, if you want to see more of my thoughts and opinions that I
Mm-hmm.
conjure from my head, which I haven't released to the public yet, but but if you'd like to hear more like thoughts like this, definitely come
Yeah.
over there to my channel, that the Reset with Rochelle. And I think is my email in my description. I'm not sure, but I think
I
my
can put
email.
it there. I can put it there if
Oh,
not.
thank you.
Yes. Yes. I will
Um,
make sure to put it in there. But
um,
this has been absolutely amazing. I have a
thank
full page of notes. So, like
you.
I said, this was supposed to be people for early 20s. You've given me so much advice. So, thank you. And I
I've
think this
learned
touches
too.
on, yeah, on like intergenerational sharing because we
Yes,
learn so much from each other no matter what age we are.
I
We have
know.
wisdom to contribute. And I think
Right.
that's so powerful.
And
So,
I think that's why I love the idea of like writing as well, because it's like you are immortalizing yourself in print. And I
ah,
love that idea of where it's like even when you cross over, your ideas, your thoughts, your words will still be here. And I think that's why a big thing for me is like I want to write and I want to get this out.
mm-hmm.
But these things that are like inside my head, in my phone, I want to
Yeah.
get them out eventually, because look, we're not going to live forever, and we don't know how long we got. So I'm just like I gotta get it out, because I want to leave like a legacy, like a written
Mm-hmm.
legacy behind, if that is possible. So it's my
Yes.
dream.
Powerful. That is powerful. Oh my gosh. I never thought about that. It really does immortalize your thoughts and feelings and
Yeah,
emotions while you're on earth for future
right.
generations. It does.
And like the biggest thing happened like I think it was last year, where I was watching this like kind of like panel, because I'm kind of like into like fantasy novels, and there was this
Mm-hmm.
panelist of like fantasy authors, and it was crazy because one of the authors was talking about his one of his idols and his mentors that he went to school with, and he was actually his professor at a university. He was saying how actually his late mentor, and I was like, wait, late? And I couldn't believe it, because I was like, oh my god, like I just saw a panel with the guy on it, so I was like, oh my god! And I was googling, and he actually died the year before the that panel was made. So I was like, I went to go see what he had, and I literally just bought like all of his fantasy books that he wrote, because he wrote a series, and I just bought like some of his writing books, because I'm like, this man left a legacy behind, and like I found out that he passed like a year later, but like it still found its way to me, and I found that like I felt it was
Hmm.
like divine intervention or something, because I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way, and it was just crazy because I was like, he wasn't that old, like he was only in his like early 60s, but unfortunately he had to fall and he passed away, and it was
Mm-hmm.
crazy because I was like, I needed to, I feel like this is a sign, so I literally just bought all of his books he ever wrote, and like I needed to get to reading them, of course, but it was just it was just such that was a powerful moment for me last year, because I was like, this is a sign,
Mm-hmm.
I feel, because yeah, so definitely if you can write, if you have that passion to write, if you feel like you have this thing that you need to get out, just write it, and if possible, publish it. Even if you publish it independently, you're still
Mm-hmm.
putting it out there for someone to find, because some of the books that he
Mm-hmm.
independently published on Amazon. And like if he never did that, like I wouldn't have like 10 of his books right now, like 15.
Yeah.
So it was very
Mm.
powerful for me when I saw that conference, and I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
it's a sign.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is powerful. And that gives me inspiration to keep going because sometimes it can feel
Yes.
like writing a book is impossible. Even though,
Hmm.
like you said, you can self publish through Amazon now, which wasn't an option a while ago.
Yes.
But sometimes it feels impossible. But having that motivation that someone years down the road, generations in the future, could pick up your book and be inspired by it. Wow.
Literally, the man was publishing since like the early 2000s, and I only found him in 2022, a year after
Mm.
his passing. But he,
Hmm.
thankfully, he left behind his work, and it was great. So, and also because you are building a platform too. So you have like
Mm.
hundreds. I mean, I'm seeing your subscriber count going up all the time.
Oh,
So you
thanks.
you have an audience, and you have people who love you and who will support. Like, what of me? I will. And like literally, like even if you go the self-publishing route, like it's so viable these days that like no matter what you announce, you drop day one. I'm dropping this thing September 21st. I'm pre-ordering that thing right now. So and that's a beautiful thing because I feel like
Hmm.
I think nowadays with social media you can do this tandem thing where you're
Yeah,
growing your platform, growing your audience,
true,
growing supporters
true.
while you're working on something on the side because now your growth is going to facilitate a lot of sales. What's for
Hmm.
me? So
That
yes,
is so
don't
true.
don't let your writing dream die, please. No,
Okay, I won't. I won't. I gave myself a September 30th deadline, so I think I'm gonna adhere to that. But
you got
so,
this.
okay, girl. Okay. Goodbye. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Marilyn says yes. Thanks, ladies. Please enjoy your life. Get rid of stuff. What you can live with, what you can live without. It's so simple. Don't make it hard. You got this. Thank you. And that's true. That is true.
Yes.
Yes. Simple as possible. And I am
Mm-hmm.
learning that now traveling abroad with just like two suitcases. And all this time I had a full wardrobe and everything, but you really don't need that much to,
No.
from day to day. So yes, keep it
No.
simple.
Have you heard of
Hmm.
capsule wardrobes?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
my god, where you like just pack like I think enough for a week.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's like my life right now. I love wearing the same thing with some
That keeps it
variations here and
easy, right? So you have more time to do what you love
there. Yes.
and less,
Yes.
focus on things that really don't matter.
Mm-mm.
That's so
No.
true. That's
No.
so true. Okay. She says, yes, great advice for every age. Agreed. Yes,
Oh,
thank you so much. Thank
thank
you. We are in here learning. We are definitely learning. Yes. Yes, Marilyn says, I'm retired, enjoying my life. I always saw and experienced life differently at a very young age. I wanted to know more. Enjoy your life now, ladies. Be curious, ask questions, read. Yes, so
Yes.
true.
Oh
Be
my god,
curious.
that is
Mm-hmm.
such a good point because now you can literally. This is the best time to be curious.
Mm-hmm.
You literally have everything you need to know right here.
Oh,
It's
yes,
the
that's
best
true.
time to be
Mm-hmm.
curious. Oh, it's the best
Yes,
time.
that's true. You have like all the world's information in your
Literally,
phone, which again makes it addictive, which we
it
talked
does.
about.
It does. Yes.
But yeah, things are so much easier to access now.
Yes.
Information you want to find out is right at your palm
Right.
often. So
Mm.
important. Yay. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, y'all. I think I got to do this now. I said I set a goal. Oh, okay. Ah, yes. Thank you. All right, y'all. But I just want to thank my amazing guest,
Thank
Rochelle.
you.
Y'all make sure, please subscribe to her channel. I will list her email in the description. But yes, do you have
Thank
anything else to
you.
add before we sign off?
Oh, okay. This is my last shot. Okay. Okay. Wait, what is one last thing? Let me just look at my note quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Oh my god. No pressure. No pressure. Wait. Okay. I would say my last thought definitely if you're young and you're entering your 20s, research what you want to do for your life and
Mm.
also be very selective of who you allow in your life and also realize that some people are just meant to be here for a season, not for your whole life. And that just like how you wouldn't want to be friends with everyone, not everyone wants to be friends with you.
Mm-hmm.
Invest, Please start investing. I
Ah.
need to get on that because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting any younger. So invest, and also utilize the internet and social media to get information that you've never been able to access before, especially
Mm-hmm.
if it's in terms of like relationships with like people, friends, family members, because now you're seeing all these sorts of channels coming up with like teaching you about signs to look out for narcissistic abuse or like
Mm.
toxic relationships,
Uh-huh.
like in like all this information, like you're seeing certain silos, certain pockets of different groups on YouTube rising up where it's like, wait a minute, they're looking a little sus, they're looking a bit toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Now with like access to the internet, you're able like never before to suss out different
Mm-hmm.
pockets, different people, different groups, and it's great because the more knowledge, it helps you prepare better in life in the long run, and it's just helping you to navigate life easier because a wise person learns from someone else's mistakes. So definitely learn
Mic
from
drop.
other
Yes.
learn from other people's mistakes. That's the beauty. And I think that's another thing I learned, especially. That's why it's taken me so long to like want to put myself out there on social media because
Mm-hmm.
I've heard so many stories of people
Mm-hmm.
messing up their life, ruining their life, or
Mm-hmm.
losing career opportunities because they posted the wrong thing, they said the wrong thing.
Right.
And those people, they took the bullet for me because I I was able to go over those mines, go over
Mm-hmm.
those grenades, and now I'm extra cautious, extra careful of what I put out there because the internet's forever. So you have to be very careful what you say,
Oh.
what you put out there,
Mm-hmm.
because something you said 10 years ago can come back and bite you in the butt. So be
Mm-hmm.
very, very careful. I'm so glad I didn't have the internet when I was a kid because, oh,
Me too.
God, oh,
Me
God.
too.
So, yes,
Mm.
think a lot before you post anything. Be very careful of what you consume, what you ingest, and
Mm-hmm.
also just get out of a scarcity mindset and realize that there's abundance, there's more than enough for all of us. So just get out of that scarcity mindset and you will be good.
Yes, yes.
Don't be scared of your future, even if it looks unknown or scary now. There's a plan for you, and we will all we will all reach our goal. We'll all reach our final destination at some point. So just
I love that. I
just
love that.
yes, just take
Thank
in the
you.
moment, live in the moment, think about your future, prepare as best you can, because of course there are always certain things that come up that are unexpected, but just
Mm-hmm.
just live your best life, live your healthiest life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much
Thank
for sharing all of this. Like, wow. I'm mind blown. I'm mind blown. I definitely didn't know all of this at 23. I didn't know all this at 29 because I learned tonight.
Look, when you are in the house for 4 years and all you have is the
Ah.
internet, you learn some things. You have time to reflect that like you've never reflected before, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the good things about the pandemic, honestly, that came out of this is like it really helped me grow in ways that I never would have before. Like being pulled to school, looking for a job, like
Mm-hmm.
going. It's like I just had time to sit, focus, and just be, and like that. These 4 years, I mean, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of growth was happening, stimulation was happening up here. So, yes, thanks pandemic, I guess. I don't, thanks.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, yes.
So
It did provide a lot of opportunities to
it did,
go inwards,
it
do a
did,
lot of introspection, a lot of reflection. Yeah,
it really
absolutely. I
did.
agree with that. I
Oh
agree with that.
yes, this was amazing.
Yes, it
Thank you so
was.
much
It
for having
was.
me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank y'all so much for all of your comments tonight. The chat has been on fire. Thank you for everything that you shared. It's so appreciated.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to her channel, and I'll put her
Oh
email in the description. Thank you, Rochelle.
my gosh, thank you.
Truly appreciate this.
I
All right,
appreciate
y'all.
it too. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right, y'all. Hope you have a beautiful night, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.